In 1898, if you wanted to see a car in Paris, you had to physically travel to one room. Putting 100 automobiles in front of 100,000 people required massive floor space because the physical exhibition hall was the only communication medium available. Jules Albert de Dion founded the world's first motor show to solve this logistical problem. He needed a physical delivery system to explain a brand new technology to a public that had no other way to see it. Today, that delivery system fits in your pocket. A phone screen gives you instantaneous access to 3D configurators, high-resolution digital walkarounds, and independent reviews from angles of velvet rope would never allow. Every single informational job that 1898 exhibition hall performed has been replaced by digital media. By all logical metrics, the physical auto show should be extinct. The fact that it continues to draw over 1 million visitors means the exhibition hall is doing something a screen absolutely cannot replicate. A screen allows a designer to manipulate the camera height, frame the shot, and dictate the lighting. Digital renders are intentionally designed to flatter the object, which means physical mass and weight disappear in the process. When you look at a car, the feeling of it being right or wrong comes down to stance and proportion, specifically the geometric distances between the wheel arch, and the lower sill. On a two-dimensional screen, those precise spatial relationships flatten out entirely. Automotive design studios are fully aware of this visual trickery. It is the exact reason why physical clay modeling outlasted every wave of software that was supposed to replace it. Designers require physical reality to accurately judge scale. A moment of realization: the modern auto show actually has very little to do with selling cars to consumers. It survives because it is the industry's final arena for testing how a vehicle's geometry interacts with the real world at a true one-to-one scale. When you step onto the floor of an international auto show, you are walking into the largest full-size design review on the planet. Inside a closed studio, a vehicle's proportions are evaluated by the people who sketched it and the executives who paid for it. After 2 years of looking at the exact same project, those internal teams want it to succeed. They know the engineering constraints and the budget cuts by heart. Their observation is highly compromised. The strangers walking past a display stand possess a highly valuable asset: outsider bias. 1 million attendees owe the manufacturer nothing. They have zero memory of the internal compromises that shaped the car, and they have absolutely no reason to be polite. The crowd reacts instinctively to the physical object in front of them. That raw, immediate physical impression generates the harshest and most accurate signal a design team will ever receive. There is only one problem with gathering this perfect, unvarnished feedback on the show floor. It arrives entirely too late to be of any use. By the time a production car is rolling under the spotlights in Paris or Detroit, the sheet metal has been stamped and the supply chains are locked in. Every aesthetic decision worth changing was legally and financially frozen years before the public ever laid eyes on it. This chart shows the relationship between design flexibility and public feedback over a vehicle's development cycle. The cost to alter a design rises exponentially over time, while the accuracy of the feedback stays essentially flat until it spikes dramatically at the very end, long after the budget is spent. To survive this timeline, automakers spend millions building concept cars. These early prototypes act as highly expensive coping mechanisms, built specifically to absorb the risk of public reaction before mass production tooling begins. The automotive industry has spent over a century building a flawless, multi-million-dollar apparatus for getting honest public reactions to finished objects. It has almost nothing in place for getting those same reactions to unfinished ones. Solving this delay requires pulling that unsparing, full-scale judgment out of the exhibition hall and moving it straight into the early concept studio. Current digital tools try to bridge this gap. Virtual reality headsets are now standard for checking interior sightlines and component packaging, but VR fails at communicating physical mass because a headset cannot trick your brain into feeling how heavy an object is. Without an accurate sense of gravity and weight, simulating a vehicle's true physical stance on the road remains impossible in a purely virtual space. The solution lies in generative tools that prioritize consistency over novelty. Traditional renders rely on a designer manually choosing flattering angles to hide flaws, but generative systems can maintain the exact geometric truth of a 3D model across thousands of automated viewpoints. By stripping away the designer's ability to curate the image, these tools force a design to stand up to the same ruthless scrutiny as a physical model. This geometric consistency allows teams to iterate with a sense of honest physical scale on day one, surfacing flaws in proportion years before a single piece of metal is cut. Erasing a bad curve on a digital sketch costs practically nothing, while changing a physical stamping die costs millions. To survive that math, design intelligence has to deliver the brutal honesty of the crowd from the very first line you draw.